Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about what's going on right now with the GameStop fiasco and all that. Before we get into it, let me go ahead and explain the concept of shorting and longing for you, okay? Some of you guys already know this probably, or maybe not, but let's talk about it. So long and short are the two concepts in financial markets, right? It's pretty much the only two that you can do. You can either go long or go short on a stock. Now, what does that mean? When you go long on a stock, it's pretty much the same thing as buying the stock, right? So basically, you're hoping the stock goes up to profit, right? It's very simple, very self-explanatory. It's basically, let's say the stock GameStop right now is at $294. If I was to go long on that stock, then that would mean that I'm buying the stock and I'm hoping that it would go up higher to wherever, like maybe $300, $400, so that I can sell it for a profit. So if it goes up, I make money. If it goes down, I lose money. Very simple, right? Now, shorting is the same thing as selling. It's the opposite, exact opposite. So I'm hoping the stock goes down in order to profit, right? So let's say I'm buying GameStop right now. I'm shorting GameStop right now at $294. I'm hoping that it'll go down so that I can make profit. And if it goes up, then I lose money. Very simple. Two opposite ends of the coin, right? Two opposite sides of the coin. But with longing and buying, it's very intuitive for you guys because everybody knows how to buy stock, right? You can just buy it and hold on to it, and if it goes up, you make money. If it goes down, you lose money. So with shorting, however, is a little bit more abstract, a little bit more. It takes a little. It's not as simple, right? Because you don't need to already own the stock in order to sell the stock when you short it. Now I know it doesn't make much sense, but let's say I don't own any GameStop right now. I don't own any shares. So how could I sell something that I don't own? That's not mine. Well, there's a way. If you short the stock, basically what you're doing is you're borrowing shares from the exchange. You're just borrowing it, right? You borrow the shares from the exchange and then you sell it. Okay, so you sell the stock. Let's say if I'm shorting GameStop right now at $292, then I would borrow however many shares, let's say one share of GameStop from the exchange, and then I would sell it immediately, right there at $292. And if the price goes down to $150, what I would do then is buy it back. I would buy it back at $150 and return that same share to the exchange, because I owed them one share, remember? So then the difference between $292 and $150, which is $142, I would profit that. That's my profit. Now, of course, let's say I buy it at $290. Let's say I borrow the share at $292, one share of GameStop at $292, and I sell it immediately, which basically means I'm shorting it, right? And if it goes up to $400, and then I decide, all right, man, I'm out. I'm losing too much money. I'm out. What I would do is I would have to buy back that same share at $400. Now, the difference between $400 and $292, which is $108, would be my loss. I would lose $108, right? So basically, that's a very simple explanation. I hope you guys understood that. But let's just say, so what's been going on is there's a lot of hedge funds, billionaires, and big institutions out there that was shorting this stock way back here, right here. They were shorting it, and I mean they had good reasons to. I mean, it's GameStop. Nobody uses it anymore. I mean, we live in an age where people can just download video games streaming from the internet, or we don't need to go to a store in order to rent video games anymore. It's kind of like, JCPenney is being destroyed by Amazon, right? So not only that, their earnings wasn't good, during the pandemic. I mean, they're definitely not making any money. So then a lot of institutions were shorting this thing. But the thing was, they're using so much leverage to short this thing, and they're using so much rehypothecation. And I know those two concepts are a whole different video. It's going to take a lot of explaining, but basically they're shorting the fuck out of this thing, if that makes any sense. They're basically over leveraging themselves in order to short this stock, and because they're that confident that it's going to keep going down. Now, what that does is basically put a huge sell pressure onto the stock, which kind of manipulates the market in a way, because since there's so much selling going on, a lot of people wouldn't want to buy this stock, because a lot of exchanges, they let you see the sell orders. You can see who's selling. Well, you don't see who's selling, but you see the blocks of how many shares are being sold from this stock. So, a retail investor like myself or you guys, whoever, would go up and look at that order book, and you would see, oh man, somebody's selling 1 million shares of GameStop right now. Why the fuck would you want to buy the stock when you see that? So in a way, that's the big boys, the whales, the institutions. That's their way of manipulating the market by using that, flexing their muscle, because they have the money, they have the resources. They can do that in order to scare off retail investors, which drive the price down even further down, because that's the direction they want to go anyway, because they're shorting the stock, right? So basically, Caitlin Long, she used to be a Wall Street veteran, and now she's big on Bitcoin and all that. But she found out that GameStop, 138% of the float was short. What is the float? The float is the total shares available for GameStop. So basically, they're shorting 140% of the available shares. Now, how is that possible? Well, it shouldn't be possible, because, like I said, you have to borrow a share from the exchange in order to short it, right? So how are you able to short more than the available supply? You can't. You shouldn't be able to, but they can, because they're big institutions and they get away with a lot of shit. So that's the market manipulation that basically started this whole entire fiasco, this whole entire domino effect, right? So that's what they did. That's the first thing they did, was they were shorting it, and it's a huge amount. It's 140% over the float. And she said that's the fraud right there, folks. A dishonest ledger system. It allowed more shares to be sold than actually existed, which is called naked shorting, right? So they were just shorting the shit out of this thing, and then somehow, some way, the spreadsheet and the number found its way to the regular Joe, a regular guy, and basically they drove the price up. They came together, all these guys on Reddit, all these guys came together, and they said, we're going to drive the price of GameStop up, because somebody is fucking up out there. If you're shorting that heavily, if you're shorting this stock that bad, that hard, you're fucking up, because you're leaving yourself open, very vulnerable, because you're over leveraged, right? So if you drive the price up, these guys are going to feel the pain. Even just a little uptick of movement, increase of price, they would feel the pain. So that's what these guys basically came together. A bunch of average Joes like me and you got together and decided we're going to buy the stock and basically drive the price up. And of course, they got help along the way with other hedge funds. When they caught wind of what's going on, they decided to go for the ride as well, and they decided to join in the effort and go long on the stock in order to ride the wave and cash out themselves. But originally, it started out from average Joes, regular investors, just wanted to basically exploit a weakness in the system, because they show their hands, right? They show their hands, and we saw that, man, they fucked up. So they drove the price of GameStop all the way up, like I said, to like over $500, almost 400%. And that effectively blew out, I think, 2 or 3 hedge funds. I'm talking about billion dollars, over $3-4 billion in management hedge fund. Melvin Capital blew out, completely gone, destroyed, because of this one position, because they were over leveraged, and they did not expect this to happen. So basically, hey, it's a free market, it's fair game. You went short on a stock. The stock went up, you lost money, fair game. You can't complain about that. That's the free market. Like, that happens to retail investors every day. We lose money every day. We go long on a stock and the price drop, we lose money. We go short on a stock, the price go up, we lose money. That's just the way the game works, right? So they drove this thing all the way up. They didn't do anything illegal, nothing at all. And so let's continue to see the story. So when that happened, GameStop trading, well, this guy, the state regulator, claimed that GameStop trading should be halted for 30 days. Guys, you can't do this. He wanted to stop trading. He wanted to stop the market entirely, because he wanted to save his billionaire hedge funds buddies, because they're in pain and they can't get out. As a hedge fund, it's very hard for you to get out of the position. So as the price goes up way too fast, you can't get out and you're stuck holding the bag. You see what I'm saying? And the more time goes by, the more money you're losing for your funds. And that's basically what happened to Melvin Capital when they blew out their entire account. But you can't do this. You can't play this game because this is a rigged game that you're playing. Now it's clear market manipulation. Now it's kind of like playing a video game with your little brother, and as soon as he start beating you, you go and you turn the game off. You can't do that. So that's what's going on right now. And that's the big scoop in the market right now. That's what you guys are hearing, and there's a lot of more details and nuances that goes on in the background. But this is what's on the surface, right? So they try to halt the market. They try to stop it, and they did. The Secretary of State, Bill Galvin, called for 30-day suspension of GameStop stock trading. Like, oh, stop them from buying this stock. You can't do that. That's a violation of the Constitution. That's free speech. That's free market. You can't do that just because your buddies are losing. Your buddies been doing this to the little guys for decades. They've been doing this to us forever, right? They've been manipulating the market. They've been screwing us out. 2008, the financial crash. That's basically what happened. They played games with people's lives. They went over leveraged. They got greedy. And then when the house of cards fell down, the economy crashed. People lost their job. These people didn't do anything wrong. They didn't have anything to do with that. But the guys on the top, the billionaires, the hedge funds, the mortgage brokers, and all of these guys that started this entire domino effect, this chain reaction, they created this collapse. But yet, they're the one that got bailed out by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve printed more money to bail them out so that they don't go bankrupt. What about the people down the bottom? What do they get? Nothing. They get a stimulus check. That's ridiculous, guys. And that's what's going on right now. And you guys should be very angry. You should be paying attention to this. So he tried to stop. It's not free market. So GameStop and AMC share was halted twice in the first 10 minutes of trading Thursday following Wednesday's massive gains. You can't do that. You can't go and just decide that, oh, let's stop the game. We don't want to play right now because we're losing. You can't. This is the free market. This is unfair what you're doing. This is manipulation. This is rigged. It's making people really angry. And Robinhood, I'm never using Robinhood ever again after this, guys. They basically restricted transaction. At first, they were only restricting transaction for certain securities, which is AMC and GameStop, GME. And then eventually, they basically just removed it altogether. They won't even let people buy anymore. You can only close out your position on the stock. You cannot purchase additional shares. You can't buy any more of the stock because they don't want the price to keep going up. And their buddies, their hedge fund buddies are losing money, so they have to side with the regulators. They have to basically bend the knee to the billionaires and fuck over the little guys. And not only that, they eventually they disabled trading, they eventually basically make the people sell their own stock without them knowing. They sold the stocks for them, for GameStop and AMC. They went and just basically just sold all of their position, liquidated all their position without people even knowing. Holy shit, Robinhood is forced selling people's positions. Wow. This is an absolute circus. People are being forced to sell at a gain or loss, which has tax consequences. This is a huge problem and a mind-blowing mistake. That's basically it. You can't do that. That's not constitutional. That's the most un-American thing I've ever heard in my life. This is the free market. You're supposed to let the market decide. People put their money in there. They want to invest. That's their choice. If they don't know what they're doing, they'll lose money. If they know what they're doing, they'll make money. That's not your choice. That's not your discretion to stop the game and come up with rules and make up rules as you go just to benefit the people that's paying you the most. You can't do that. You can't. That's not what Americans are about. This goes against the Constitution. It really does. It's freedom of speech. And then especially when you decide to, not only are you censoring people, or you stopping people from buying the stock, you're forced selling people's positions. That's entire different. That's a whole other thing, guys. And Robinhood, they're actually going through, I think they're getting hit with a couple class action lawsuit right now, as they should. And we'll see how this thing play out. But, there's a punchline to all of this, but basically. So let's read this tweet. He says, it just keeps getting worse. Now Robinhood is auto-selling people's GameStop position. This is unacceptable. if this was crypto and you held your own keys, this would be impossible. Exit the legacy financial system as soon as you can. Bitcoin, right? So let's go into the punchline. Robin Good selling shares for people. Okay. Now this guy made a really good point. If you think today's Robinhood restrictions are bad, wait till they start restricting withdrawals. You think that's money? That's your money you're holding now, yeah, and that would bring me to my last point, guys. Is that we are living in really scary, uncertain times. These things are unprecedented. These things have never happened before. I mean, these kind of short squeeze, retail tug of war with the billionaires and hedge funds, it's been going on forever, but never before has it been in the spotlight and it has the kind of momentum that it has, like it did today, and the kind of like attention and people just everybody's watching, and they're basically rigging the game right in front of you. They're basically cheating and fucking over the little guys, the average Joes, right in front of your face. And what can you do about it? We'll see if those class action lawsuits come to fruition, or it can even like do anything to these people, because I suspect it's not going to do much. I suspect they're going to pay a little fine and then they'll go move on. But we will never forget this day, because, guys, they banned the president of the United States, right? Donald Trump. I'm apolitical. I don't care whose side you're on, what party. I don't care. I don't like neither one of them, to be honest. But for you to censor the president of the United States, delete his social media account, that's violation of the freedom of speech, guys. Now, you could sit there and argue with me that, oh, well, he was inciting violence. He was, causing the riots, the insurrection or whatever. Maybe, but that's like saying, oh, this person committed some really bad, did some bad things. Let's go ahead and go and tie him up and throw stones at him so we can punish him as much as possible. You can't. There's such a thing as Constitution. Thou shalt not kill, right? So that's why a death penalty was taken off the table, no matter how harsh the crime. Same with that. It's like, yeah, Trump, maybe he did incite some violence. Maybe he did cause the riots. But that's, for you to violate the First Amendment of the Constitution, the freedom of speech, in order to ban and censor the president of the United States, a sitting president of the United States. That's never been done before, and it's like they're going down the slippery slope, and they're slowly inching their way into full-on socialism, pretty much, and this is America, and I can't believe this is happening in America. I mean, it started last year, right, with all the shit that's going on. I mean, we've seen things that we've never seen in our lifetime. My parents, your parents, they never seen nothing like this happen in America, and for the first time it's happening, and it's like they're inching their way towards something un-American, something that's not what we stand for, what this country was built upon. Like I said, they started off this year banning, censoring, and deleting a social media account of the sitting president of the United States. I mean, they justify it with, this and that. But like I said, a violation of the First Amendment is still a violation of the First Amendment. And then now this. Now we saw what Wall Street is capable of. We saw what the guys with money, the suits, are capable of. They're able to buy these exchanges. They're able to just literally rig the game in plain sight. They're doing this in broad daylight. They're just like, nope, stop the trading. Don't let nobody buy any more stocks. That's the most un-American thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, you live in this country where it's capitalism, right? That's your money, right? Your hard-earned money. It's your right to buy whatever you want. And the stock market is one of them. You're not doing anything illegal. You're not buying drugs. You're not buying, like, what the fuck? And then they have the nerve to disable trading, stop you from buying this stock just because it's hurting their billionaire buddies that's on the other side of the trade. And not only that, they actually had the nerves to go and force sell your position to make you liquidate your own position against your own will. What's to stop them from going into your house and stealing and robbing your possession next? Like, what's going to come next? Your ATM machine, the money you put in your bank, Can't you see this happening one of these days where you can't even withdraw money out of your ATM machine because of some justification that they're gonna come up with? Guys, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means. I don't believe in any of that shit. I'm very practical. Anybody that knows me would tell you that. Um, but I look at the facts, okay? I look at the facts and I see us heading down this road where, just it's just unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it in America, and it's not American. They're taking away freedom of speech. They're taking away, the ability to buy, to operate and participate in the free market, and they're openly doing it. They're doing it in broad daylight, and then so all of this to say, we never needed Bitcoin now more than ever. Now we need it now, bad. Guys, Bitcoin is the only thing they can't censor. It's the only thing they can't manipulate. They can't control. They can't do anything to it. They can't stop trading it. They can't stop the market. Bitcoin is open 24/7, 365. You can. Bitcoin is always running. It's always. There's no weekends. There's no holidays. There's no hard trading. There's no. There's no. Oh, you can't buy Bitcoin today. It's the only free market we have left. Literally. And that's why it's so powerful. And that's why I've been trying to tell you guys, me buying Bitcoin is not just about making money. It's not just about making profit. It's literally a lifeboat, guys. It's the only thing left. Think about it. If you buy real estate, right? You buy your land. I'm going to school. I'm trying to be a real estate agent. So I'm learning a lot about real estate right now. They have this thing called eminent domain rights or police power or whatever, where they can literally take your land and your property away from you if they feel that that's what's beneficial to the state. They can literally take your property away from you if you want it, if they want it, right? If you own a land or property in California, the state of California ultimately has the last say on what happens to your property. And they will exercise that power if need be, right? So real estate is centralized, it's controlled. Gold. Look what happened to gold. They seized everybody gold back in 1931, and in 1971, they disconnected the dollar from being pegged to gold. So there's no anchor left so that they can print as much dollars as they want. Gold is not safe because of its physicality, because of, it's the fact that you need to keep it and hold it and store it somewhere. This counterparty risk is just not safe. So gold, you can't go there. Stocks, you see what happens. The stock market is being controlled, being watched, being regulated by big brothers, and you just can't. That's not going to be an option either. Cash, your savings are being printed away. They're printing 15 to 20% more every single year of the U.S. dollar, and they're expanding the monetary supply and ultimately creating inflation and destroying your purchasing power. That's why a dollar today just doesn't go as far as a dollar did back in 2000. And that's the reality. So you can't keep your money in cash. What else? All that's left is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only thing they can't stop. They cannot manipulate it because of the code, the way it was designed, the genius way that it was designed. They cannot shut it down because of the decentralization aspect of Bitcoin, to where there's no head of the snake, there's no CEO, there's nobody you can bring in front of Congress and try to subpoena. There's nobody. It's not controlled by anyone. It's controlled by everybody but nobody. So that's Bitcoin. And what else? It just can't be manipulated. The market's always open. You can't go and stop the market from buying Bitcoin. You can't do that. It's literally the only thing left. And man, I really feel bad for the people that don't own Bitcoin in the future, where we are headed, guys. We are headed to, it's a really weird place, man. And I don't want to go in full-blown conspiracy theories and say this and this and this, but man, it's been really weird, guys. And they're inching their way towards socialism or something. I don't know, and I really think that Bitcoin is the only solution that we have to this problem. As Robinhood, TD American Trade, Charles Schwab all bend the knee All of that Wall Street bets, which is the guys that was trying to go against the system, energy will find its way to the only financial protest vote nobody can stop, and that's Bitcoin. All these roads are leading to Bitcoin. Anger at financial establishment, demand for decentralized platforms, market flush with cash, with more stimulus coming, escalating class separation due to inflation of assets. It's all right there. It's all right there. I hope this week is a wake-up call for everyone. The current system is irreparably corrupt and rigged against you. Get your wealth out of banks and into Bitcoin, where it can't be halted, seized, or devalued. The freedom of the human race is at stake. It really is that big. It really is. And this is America. They're doing this in America, guys. People everywhere are waking up to the fact when you manipulate money, everything else is distorted as a byproduct. This will accelerate both the number of people asking questions and also them realizing that Bitcoin might be the only answer to stop this madness. Guys, I really hope that you guys pay attention and dig deep and do some research, guys, and just see why Bitcoin is the only place you can put your money. It's the only place. You can't put it in a savings account. It's just going to get inflated away to nothing. You can't put it in gold. It's already been compromised before many times. It's going to continue to be compromised because of its physicality. You can't put it in real estate. I mean, I understand you're trying to buy a house for yourself, but if you're trying to park your wealth there in a real estate property, the state control that, not you. You can't do it in stocks. We saw what happened today. What else is there? Bitcoin is the only thing left. So, hope you guys stay safe out there.